Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to do single crochet US terminology or double crochet UK terminology into a chain. This is a really good stitch to learn for basic crochet projects and also more advanced crochet projects such as making scarves, bags, clothes as well, booties for babies. Most crochet projects require this stitch. So as I just mentioned, in the UK we tend to call it double crochet. So if you're reading patterns, it will say double crochet and this is the stitch that they will be referring to, whereas if you're reading American pattern they will call it a single crochet. Just so you know, I tend to call it single crochet just because that's the way that I was taught, the way that I learnt. So that's how I'll probably be referring to it throughout the video, but I'll try to remember to mention that if it's UK, it's double crochet, just so you know. Obviously you can make mistakes reading patterns if you weren't aware of that before. So the yarn that I'm using today is actually Toft alpaca yarn, so it's really lovely and soft and really luxurious. It's a real treat to use this yarn as well. It's really nice and soft on your fingers, so I do recommend it. I've got two shades here, pretty much both of them are brown. I'm going to use a lighter one just because it's slightly easier to see on the camera so you can see the finer details of what I'm doing. When you're choosing your hook for your crochet projects, there will normally be on the label, obviously I've taken the label off these now, but on the label it will tell you what size hook to use. So I've got another one here to give you an example. So on this one it says, it's normally a logo like that, and it will say to you 4mm or up here we've got different sizes as well depending, but most hooks will come in millimeters. So I have got this lovely hook here, 4mm, and that's the one I'm going to be using today. So let's get started. So first of all, to start you need to make a chain, and I have a video that goes into a lot of detail on how to do this, and it's nice and slow, so please check that one out if you're unsure. I'll put a link to it in the description box below as well, so it's nice and easy for you. Otherwise I will show you how to do it on this video as well. So here we go. So you've got to make your slip knot to begin with. It just makes things a lot easier, and it's adjustable as well, so it makes the project much easier. So what you do to make a slip knot is you stick your forefinger out and you wrap the yarn around it like that, and then around again to make a cross. See that? You're just holding the tail in these fingers down here, and then put that to the side there. And then you take this piece, the bit in front, and you pull it, so you might need to use your finger to help. You pull it over this side, keep it under your thumb, and then you pull this bit up here, and that is where your hook goes. So you put your hook in there, take your finger out, and just pull those two bits there. And then if you pull them apart like that, it makes it nice and tight to the hook. Okay, and then to do your chain, you just want to get your hand in like that, wrap it around once. I like to hold it like that, just keeps it secure. And then you yarn over and pull it through. And we're just going to do a chain of 10 today, just so I can show you how to do the single crochet or the double crochet stitch UK terminology. So that's one, now we're going to do 2. Yarn over again, pull through, that's 3, 4, 5, just going to move those fingers up to keep it nice and controlled, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's my 10 chain stitches, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one more, which counts as my kind of turning stitch. So that'll be 11 in total, so there's 11. And what that means is when I go into the next stitch to make my single crochets, I don't need to go into this one directly next to my hook. I can go in and skip one and go into the next one, and that just gives it a kind of cleaner edge along the side. So yeah, so to do your single crochet US or your double crochet UK, you just want to put your Your hook should be like this now. So you just want to put your hook into that space there that has been made by the chain. So what you should have is 2 separate loops, if you see. So you're just going into the middle there. So there should only be 1 above, like that. So now you've got 2 loops on your hook. Then you just grab a bit more yarn, so yarn over, pull through 1 like that, and you've still got 2 loops in your hook. Then you yarn over again and you pull through the final 2. So you go in to the next one. I'll show you that again, or I can show you 9 more times obviously, so we should be able to get it. So go into the next one. So you see you've got the 2 loops on your hook there. Then you yarn over your hook, pull the yarn through that first one, and then you should have 2 loops on your hook again. You yarn over again and pull through both until you've just got the 1 on your hook. Okay? Okay, so we're going to go into the next one now. Into the loop there, so you've got 2 loops on your hook. Pull up some yarn, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through those 2 until you've just got 1 left on your hook. Okay, so you just do that all the way along. So I'll just keep doing that for you so you can see it. Don't be embarrassed if you don't get it the first time. It does take a lot of practice to get it, especially the placement of your hands and things like that. That just comes with practice, so don't worry if you feel a bit clunky at the moment. Just do whatever feels right for you at the moment. The main thing is you want to be getting this right, so you want to be going into that loop. So you've got the 2 loops in your hook, yarn through just the first one, rest your hook a minute, yarn again, get some more yarn and pull it through 2, and there's that satisfying feeling when it goes through both those loops there that makes crochet such an enjoyable and relaxing hobby. So again, through this one, 2 loops on your hook, and nothing's tight. See how I can move the hook like that? Nothing should be tight, shouldn't be uncomfortable. Pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next one. Into the next one, pull your yarn through, 2 loops and pull through both. Into the next one, pull through 2. So I haven't been counting as I've been going, so if you're a beginner it's quite good to count so to make sure that you're getting the right amount of stitches, because sometimes it's quite hard to see how many stitches you've got left. I can see there that I've only got 1 left now, so I know I must have done 9 already. However, when you're a beginner, it's slightly more difficult to tell if that's a stitch or if it's just a knot at the end. So that is, there's space for my hook to go in. It's one of the chains I made at the beginning, so that is, or it's the first chain, isn't it? So that is definitely a stitch. So if you put your hook in there, yarn over as you have been doing, yarn over again and pull through the final 2. And the reason I know there isn't another stitch there is because now I've come to the slip knot that I made. So if I tried to put another stitch in there, it would be very, very tight and it just wouldn't look right. And also if I tried to put another stitch in the same place, then it would become quite wonky and unbalanced. So I'm just going to pull that up there so it doesn't come undone and show you what the stitches should look like. So as you can see, it's a bit out of focus, sorry. As you can see, they're kind of like little V's, the stitches. So what I'll show you now, working into single crochet is slightly different than working into the chains, and actually is slightly easier as well, you'll be pleased to hear. So I'll show you now how to do that. So I'm just going to put my hook back in there. So that's where we left off. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one chain, which will help me to turn my project around, just makes it a bit easier. So a lot of patterns as well will call for you to do this. So I'm just going to simply take some yarn, put it over my hook and just pull it through. So it's just called a chain I'm making there. And then what I can do is I can actually turn the work over, just flip it over like that. And this side is obviously the back side, so it doesn't look as neat. But by the time you've finished doing lots of rows and turning it back and forth, you have a kind of, it sort of evens out. So you have some neat side, some rough side. So actually it ends up looking quite pretty. So going single crochets into single crochets, like I said, is slightly easier. What you need to make sure you do, the main things to remember here, is you are going under 2 stitches this time, 2 bits of yarn, I should say. So it's 1 stitch, but there are 2 bits of yarn, whereas before you would have only had 1 bit of yarn on your hook. You're going under 2 this time. So put your hook in there, and you see what I mean? You've got the 2, you've got the entire V on your stitch. So for some people when they're beginners, it's tempting just to go through the 1 there, because that's what you're used to. And you can do that, that does create a kind of ribbed effect, I suppose, but for your basic single crochet US, double crochet UK, you want to go through both like that. So then you just yarn over as you have been doing, pull the yarn through, pull it up, and then yarn over again and pull through those 2. So again, if you stretch your work as well like that, you can see where the holes appear is where your hook needs to go. That's quite a good tip actually. So I'm pulling it there, I can see now that space that's appeared, my hook needs to go directly through that hole there. So I've got both those loops are on my hook now. I'm trying to separate it to show you. Both parts of that V are on my hook. So now I just pull through, pull it up like that. So I've got 2 loops on the hook, then yarn over and pull through that. And I'm creating another layer of single crochet now as I'm going. So again, through both, and it has a nicer feel. It's more kind of satisfying, if you like, going through the proper single crochet loop stitch rather than going through just the chain. So this is where crochet becomes really enjoyable. Once you get the hang of this is where you'll have those kind of relaxing evenings in front of the TV, just mindlessly crocheting away. So again, if you're not sure where to put your hook next, just stretch your work, and where that hole appears, I'll show you again. Stretch your work where that hole appears, that is where your hook should go. So that V is on top of your hook. So yarn over, 2 loops up there, yarn over again and pull through. And again, I'm just going to stretch that next hole. See that? Get some yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through. Again, next one, stretch. And like I said before, if you're a beginner, I do recommend counting your stitches just because it makes sure that it stays all even and neat, especially if you're not sure how to identify a stitch. I will show you when we get to the final one, because obviously I haven't been counting. So I'll show you what it looks like if you're not sure, if you haven't been counting like me. Yarn over, pull through, into this one, yarn over, pull through, into this one, yarn over, pull through. So if you look, as I was saying, how to identify how many stitches you've got left, I can see I've got 2 V's left on there. So I know I've got 2 stitches left, which means I've already done 8. So I go into that one, and you can stretch it again if that helped you. Go into that one, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, got a bit of fluff on there. And then the final one is slightly harder to get into. It's not as satisfying as the others. You might have to help out with your finger as well to get the loops onto your hook. So I just do like that. You just want to make sure you're only putting the V, the top 2 loops of the stitch on your hook. You don't want any more than that or any less than that. So there I've only got 1 loop, so I'm just going to use my finger to help. Yarn over, and there we go. And you see it just gives you the flatter edge along there, whereas if you start to miss stitches, it starts to become quite sloped, quite triangular after a while. So I mean, I definitely made that mistake in the beginning, but it's good to know to try to avoid it. Okay, and then if you want to carry on, so as you can see, if you'd made a longer chain and you were making longer stitches, you could carry on and eventually you'd make a scarf. So actually, and that's a really good beginner project because you're practicing the same stitch for a long period of time, and you can do that once you've got the hang of it. Like I was saying, you can just do that in front of the television and just relax, and it's a really nice relaxing thing to do. So yeah, so you just carry on, so you do your chain to get you started, so yarn over. The reason I do that again, if I didn't say before, is just to keep the neat flat edge. That's really nice. And then you just turn your work like that, and you start again. First stitch there, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. Okay, I hope you found that tutorial useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave comments below. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram at @LMLMCrochet, and if you do make anything using any of my videos, please feel free to use the hashtag #LMLMCrochet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.